Interesting, Mike. So I was about to join and it asked for my consent. So now I'm a little nervous because why is it asking for my consent? I don't know what's going to happen. I hope this is a PG show and I got nothing to worry about. Is that the case?
I guess it's a new security feature on Zoom.
Yeah, I guess so. But here we are. It's Wednesday. You know what that means? We haven't recorded in like a week and a half. I don't even remember, honestly. But it's been several days since our last video went live on YouTube. We talked about the NFL, 2 episodes about that. Now we're going to switch the subject a little, talk about something different. But we're back. It's been a while. We haven't done this. Hopefully we're not out of it. Hopefully we can get back into the groove. But how's it going?
Yeah, I think it's been about 2 weeks since our last episode. So we like to put them out a little bit more frequently than this. But I've just personally been busy. So hopefully this is just an aberration. We can get back on schedule. Yeah, I've been doing well, Sid. Yeah, like I said, I've just been really busy. But it's great to be back. Great to be recording. Hate to see it with Mike and Sid. What is this, our 12th episode?
I believe so. Let's see, WrestleMania was 10, and I think we did 2 2 draft episodes. So this will be 12.
Well, that would make this 13 then.
10. Oh, yeah. You're good point. Good job at the math, Mike. But yeah, this is episode 13. You know, generally in the past, Mike, I used to say episode 10, episode 11. But now I'm just getting into it. There's no fluff here. We want to just start having the conversation. We want to get to the point, but let's rock.
Let's do it, Sid. Just before we hopped on, I read an interesting statistic that I thought I'd share with our audience. Apparently, more than half of archaeologists are women. Were you aware of that?
I was not. And where's this joke going? I think I'm catching on. What's the?
Well, apparently it's because they're so good at digging up the past.
Wow. Makes sense. You know, I don't know if our viewers noticed. Well, they probably don't. I used to be an archaeologist. True story. Did you know that?
Well, you've had a lot of jobs in the past. You've been a wedding videographer.
That's right.
You have been a wedding chaperone.
Yes, also right.
But I don't think I was aware that you were an archaeologist.
Insurance archaeology. So that was my first job right out of college.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not really archaeology.
Well, they claim it is because at the end of the day, we're digging up old shit, putting it together, and creating the solution or creating the picture of what happened in the past. It was a fun job. I had a great time.
Yeah,
really different.
I remember you worked for that company.
But so before we start, Mike, you know, we've talked about something a couple of times. Like we mentioned in one episode, then we mentioned it again another episode. But I got a funny story from John, who is going to join us in a second, or he's got a funny story. He called me about this. I was laughing about it. I thought it was appropriate. So I wanted him to join our show and tell us his story, which I know you'll appreciate it. And there he is. Perfect timing. Johnny McAttack. Welcome, John. Welcome back.
How's it going, John?
I'm doing great. I'm just fresh over the bridge from New Jersey.
Oh, yeah.
He was in your neighborhood, Mike. How do you feel about that?
You should have hit me up. We could have grabbed a beer or something.
I was at a golf outing all day, but Mike, we need to, especially if you can go down to Belmar this summer, we need to grab a couple beers. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
So, John, I was telling him this topic came up on 2 episodes. and I wanted you to tell us a story that you told me this weekend, I believe, which I thought was great. I know Mike will appreciate it, but kick it off. Tell us about the story.
All right, so I'm playing golf with my cousin Pat, who is my cousin. I grew up with Pat, and
Pat's he's a real good golfer, and we're playing. We both joined a golf club. Pat's been there a few years. This is my first year, and the deal is you have to buy. If you get a hole in one, you have to buy drinks, and you have to buy at this particular club, you have to buy your foursome all golf shoes. And you also get a pot of money. So they debit all the members $10, all the golf members $10. And in our case, there's 420 something golf members. So he's getting about $4,000. And we go out there. There had been a couple hole-in-ones this year, but we go out there. He hits a line drive, more of a line drive. It wasn't a total line drive, but more of a line drive shot. It wasn't the traditional like up and down in a golf shot.
Right. You thinned it a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. He thinned it a little bit, but it was still a good strike, and it was right on line. As he hits, the joke is me and him always do to each other. We cross our fingers and go, new shoes, new shoes, new shoes. So I'm going, new shoes. We see it bounce right in front of the stick, and the stick was on a slant, and we don't see it anymore. So I'm like, okay, Pat, might have gone in. And Pat's like, I think I went over. I go, yeah, I think you went over too. But, you had the line. So we get up there, we drive up there. I'm like, my ball's on the green. The other guy we're playing with, the ball's on the green. Pat's ball, we can't find it. As we start looking around, we look in the hole, Pat got a hole in one. So we start ballistic. We go absolutely bonkers. Pat's first hole in one ever. It's the first time I've ever seen it. Actually, the previous week we had played there, the group in front of us got a hole in one on the same hole. So that the course has had 3 hole in ones this season. And I've been there, witnessed 2 of them, I guess. So it was really cool. We were so happy for Pat. He did a great job. He hit the hole in one, and he's buying drinks. He did it first class all the way. We got shoes, and you have to buy the shoe. The deal is, I guess, you buy the shoes from the pro shop. You give them the business because they run the pot of money.
Yeah.
So these golf club pro shops, they're not selling. It's not like Dick's Sporting Goods where they sell Nikes. They only sell Gucci golf shoes. So we got
typically they have a deal with a certain brand. It could be. There's usually only one. You don't have as much choice as you would if you go to.
But usually it's not like Nike or Adidas. In this case, they had I think they had a couple Pumas, but they had the brand they had was a Peter Millar golf shoe.
Yeah, that's a very popular one.
Yeah, so it was G4 golf shoe. It's they're owned by Peter Millar. So they had that. So he bought us. So I call them my Gucci golf shoes because they're bougie. It's not like Nike or Adidas or even FootJoy. It's fancy stuff. So he bought us golf shoes. He got the hole in one. He's getting a plaque with the scorecard framed and everything. It was a ton of fun. And then after the round, we went and we watched the Islanders had a playoff game and they won in overtime, which was awesome. So it was great.
Nice.
I was going to say, that's an awesome story. And the reason I wanted John to tell us a story, because Mike, I don't know if you remember, you're talking about hole-in-ones. And I was like, I think John's hit a hole-in-one during one of our podcast episodes. And John came on, and I think he said, no, actually, I have not. But now John's cousin, Pat, hits the hole-in-one.
That's
He's
awesome.
done it. And I didn't realize, they had this whole, event around a hole-in-one, where to give you money, where you have to buy everyone drinks, which the drinks part makes sense. I had no clue about the golf shoes, but you
most
got the
places
shoes.
You just have to buy drinks. You don't win any money or have to buy golf shoes. But since it's a club, they kind of do that for you, which is really, really nice.
Yeah, a lot of clubs will actually, as part of your membership dues, I think you said this was the case at your club, John, is they'll deduct a certain amount, every month or every certain amount of time, just to contribute to hole-in-one funds to fund whatever the prize is for getting a hole-in-one.
Yeah, so if you get one, they debit all the golf members $10, and there's 420. So it's a really nice feature. And then if you get one, you win the pot. And then if 6 other people get one in a year, it's not really making a dent in, it doesn't cause you too much harm. So it's just a really nice feature they do.
What was the reaction back at the clubhouse? When you got back after the round?
People, it was like a professional golf tour, how all the guys clap and they wave. I know the head pro very well. I've known him for 15 years. Actually the head pro there. I actually trained him when I worked at Harbor Links. So I was his trainer. So I know him well. So I texted him, and he spread the word around throughout the whole club. So there was these middle-aged men doing a golf clinic on the range they had there, a practice course. And like the head pro was running the clinic, and he told everybody about it. And they're like, Patrick, they're all clapping. He had like a gallery. It was great. Like, great congrats, Patrick, way to go.
And then everyone's there, right? Everyone's there to get their drink. So they all knew.
Yeah, exactly. And then at the end, everyone was there to get their drink. It was a lot of fun. It was packed, but everyone was really happy for him. It was great.
And I'm happy too. I told him I'm sending him a rug. I can't wait. We all know I'm the rug merchant. Another one of my many jobs, but it's coming, Pat. Congrats.
Well, that's awesome. Tell Pat that we wish him congratulations. That is a very exclusive club. That's like the dream for most amateur golfers to just.
Is it like the Mile High Club, or that's less exclusive? Probably less.
Well, I mean, you don't have to be skilled to join that club. Like anyone could join that club. And
then another quick golf thing, John also won something today in golf too. So the McHale family is dominating in the Cotters.
Yeah. I'll tell Pat, and I'm sure Pat and his dad will watch the podcast, so they'll love the shout out. But I did it. My cousin Kevin joined a club, Forest Hill Field Club it's right outside Hoboken. I don't know if you ever heard of it, Mike. Okay, it's popular with people in Hoboken. It's close to Hoboken. It's like one of the, probably the most major, closest club there. Okay. They had their member guest this year, where you bring out a member. Each member can bring out a guest, and you do a net score based on your handicap. So made him go out, and he's been there. It's like his second full year, so he doesn't know too many guys, and we wound up getting paired up with just a random guy. And his partner. And I was like, Kevin, this is perfect. I was like, the people that do well in these tournaments are always random partners. It's never like you, me, Sam, and Joe play, and like in the foursome, we each bring out a guest and we play together. They never win. It's always the random people. So we got paired up with these random guys. We played lights out.
Nice.
We played lights out.
Did we lose John?
John is frozen.
John is frozen. But John, if you can't come back, great job, Pat. I wanted to share this story with you, Mike. Is there a way to kick John out, because it looks like he's frozen?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to kick him out.
Sorry, John, but thank you for telling us that great story. And Pat, I'm impressed.
Okay, maybe you could just text him and tell him thank you, and
I will.
Welcome back anytime.
Yeah,
that was a really, really cool story.
Yeah, it was. Did you like it?
Yeah, it's awesome, because it's actually something that you're right, that we have talked about before on the show. So everything's come full circle.
All right, awesome. So let's jump right into it. I know we didn't waste time. It's not a waste. It's a freaking hole in one. Yeah. But let's do our hate to see it segment. I'm gonna go first this week.
Okay.
Because this one's really important to me.
Mm-hmm.
It involves two of my more favorite people out there right now, two bros who I really like. Ben Affleck, Alex Rodriguez.
Oh yeah.
And what I'm going to talk about is Bennifer, because Bennifer is a thing again.
Bennifer is back.
They're back, and for people to notice, Ben Affleck is dating J-Lo again. So I wanted to ask Mike, do you love or do you hate to see it?
I kind of hate to see it. I mean, I don't care. I don't care about these celebrity couples. I mean, this just feels like a throwback to like the early 2000s or whatever it was when they were dating. Were they married, or did they just date for a while?
I think they were just dating. They might have been engaged. I feel like everyone gets engaged.
Yeah, it seems like a rebound for both of them, to be honest. What do you think of that?
So
they both got out of prominent relationships, like high profile relationships recently. Yep. So they just went back to each other. It's like, it seems kind of
too convenient, right?
Kind of cliched. I don't see this going anywhere, but who knows?
So you don't love to see it?
I guess I hate to see it. Yeah.
You know what? I love to see it. I felt bad for Ben. I never want to see Ben upset. I don't want to see him depressed. I know he had his comfort food. We talked about that, Dunkin' Donuts. But it's time. It's time for Ben to find some love. His last relationship didn't end well. J-Lo's last relationship did not end well. And let me just say this. I'm a huge A-Rod fan. For those who know me,
really?
I love A-Rod. I was hoping A-Rod would have bought the Mets. I think he gets screwed. Andre does not like A-Rod for some reason, but I was hoping he would buy the Mets, or he bought the Mets, because I think the Mets would be in a better position today if A-Rod was running the team. But it didn't work out. He now bought the Timberwolves, I think. So he switched from baseball to basketball. But again, I love to see it. I'm happy for them. They haven't been dating for 10 years.
I think
Generally,
it's been 20 years.
Holy shit, 20 years. Now, obviously, there's an age gap, and I'm not discriminating.
Is there?
Between what I was going to say, between Armis, his previous girlfriend.
Oh, yeah.
And Jen.
She's like 20 years older.
Yeah, she's like 20 years older. But sometimes, it's great to date someone younger, but sometimes you need that maturity level.
Mm.
And that's what it seems like they're doing. And, they're happy. Matt Damon, I think, is happy for them. But yeah, I truly love to see it. I'm pumped. I want to see where this goes.
Are Matt Damon and Ben Affleck like still close? Because like they don't really collaborate with one another anymore, as far as I'm aware. I don't think they've collaborated in a long time.
They might have collaborated things that we don't realize. I think they have, but it's not like something major.
Right.
I could be wrong, but I think they're still bros because they asked Matt Damon about his thoughts on this relationship, and he's like, well, honestly, I didn't know until you guys brought it up on the segment before I came on the show. But he says he's happy for them both.
Who would you say has had the more successful Hollywood career, Ben Affleck or Matt Damon?
That's a tough one, actually. I don't know, Mike. Maybe it's tough. Part of me wants to say Damon. Part of me wants to say Matt. I mean, it's the same person. So part of me wants to say Ben. But Ben technically won.
He did win an Oscar, right? His movie won an Oscar.
Yeah, Fargo.
So yeah, he's been more successful, I think, behind the camera. And Damon has probably been more successful in front of the actor. I think Damon's a better actor than Ben. I think most people would agree.
I agree. But they're both great. Both,
yeah.
I think, Boston guys. So there you have it. That's the first question for you.
All right, Sid, I got one for you. This is a very serious subject. We like to keep the fare here on Hate to See It a little bit on the more light-hearted side, but this is just so important that it has to be discussed. UFOs. The United States government, Sid, has finally acknowledged that UFOs are real. Now, there have been reports of UFOs going back to the 40s and the 50s. This is something that people have been interested in for a very long time, but it was always denied by the government. There were always rumors that there were UFO sightings around the Area 51 area, and the government was doing research out there. But now we have official confirmation from the government that this is real. And they acknowledged just a few months ago. The Inspector General is doing a report that is going to be delivered to the Senate next month, where they're going to report their findings on this. And when this was first reported, it's like it barely even made the news. Like, it's just like you would think, like, government UFOs are real. Like that would be like the headline of every newspaper. It's like it didn't even register, which is just strange. I think it says something about how strange the past year has been, that UFOs are not even a top story. But so this past Sunday, 60 Minutes ran a piece on UFOs. So this is obviously one of the most respected news programs in the history of American television. They're running a very serious report on this. They're interviewing all these people from the Navy, from the Department of Defense. These people that they're interviewing are saying that these UFOs have technology that is 100 to 1,000 years beyond what our current technology is. Like, that's how advanced it is. They are seeing aircraft over the coast of the United States traveling 13,000 miles an hour. They're tracking this on radar. And one of the guys was saying, one of the Navy guys was saying, when we see something like this, we run through all of the possible explanations. And whenever there's a UFO, there's people say, oh, it's an optical illusion, or it's some kind of shining light, or it's a weather balloon. And they call it a UAF, actually, and that's the government term. They don't call it a UAF until they run through everything, and they still don't have an explanation for it. So it's not a weather balloon. This is one of the guys who's saying there's really three possibilities in his mind. One possibility is it's top secret U.S. government technology that is just like a secret and not known to the rest of the government. Other possibility is that it's one of our foreign adversaries has developed this. And the third possibility is that it's otherworldly technology. It is alien in origin. And then they interviewed another guy from the Department of Defense who said, it's not us. It's not the U.S. government, because I was in a position to know. I didn't know about it. I don't know if I believe him or not, but at least this guy seems to be implying it's not the U.S. government. These Navy pilots were seeing these aircraft off the coast of the U.S. in U.S. airspace, restricted airspace, on an almost daily basis for a 2-year period. This is insane. And it wasn't like just like fleeting sightings. One of the Navy pilots they interviewed was talking about essentially a dogfight that they were in with this UAF, and it gets in front of them and just disappears. And then they track it a few seconds later, 60 miles away. So this is just insane technology. What are your thoughts on this?
I feel like we can do an entire topic on this, like an entire episode.
Yes.
And you kind of sound like the guy that used to be in Blink-182, because he loves this shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? He eventually broke up with Blink-182, started doing his whole UFO stuff.
No, I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, it's true story. Like Blink-182, one of the better bands of our time. Because of
underrated.
UFOs.
I would say they're underrated.
For sure. I did see, the current lead singer a few years ago, but that's a different story. But in my opinion, UFO means, what does it mean again?
Unidentified flying object.
And that's exactly what it is. It's not an alien. It's nothing. Honestly, I believe it's bullshit.
You don't think it's alien?
No, I do not. And to me, like, I don't care. Unless I see an alien, I really don't care. I just feel like this is just people just wasting time. Again, there's no clear pictures or videos. There isn't.
There are.
No, there isn't. I don't buy it. Everything's like you have to look in. It's like, is that something? Like, you can't tell. It's just you can't identify it. That's why it's a UFO at the end of the day.
You got to watch this story. It's a 13-minute story on 60 Minutes. I'll send it to you after the episode. You got to watch it.
I'll watch it. I'll check it out. But again, if there are aliens, of course they're gonna have better technology than us. The fact that they can, if there's aliens that are near us, that means their technology has to be that much better, because our shit can't get that far. You know what I mean? Like, we can't travel like that. So yes, I know they would have better technology than us. That makes sense to me. But at the end of the day, why the hell would they just keep coming and just looking? If there's so much more intelligent than us, why are they just coming from a distance? Why aren't they engaging? Because wouldn't we want to engage? If we found other life, don't you think we'd try to have a conversation with them, try to make peace, try to talk to them, try to find out what's going on?
Well, maybe I don't know. They're researching us. Like, maybe they're studying us. But
how much studying do they need?
Probably a lot.
Why? If they have shit that's so much better technology than us, I can imagine, like, they could just quickly come abduct one of us, do all the studies they want, figure out.
Maybe they have.
It's possible. But until I see an alien, I'm not buying this.
The other thing said about this is that I find very suspicious. 2 years ago, Congress passed a defense authorization bill, which very quietly created the Space Force. And at the time, nobody really knew about this. But then Donald Trump started bragging about how he got the Space Force created. And obviously it started to make the news then, and to the point where there was Steve Carell sitcom called Space Force, basically
Yep.
making fun of the Space Force program. But Space Force was created by this defense authorization bill, a bill that received overwhelming bipartisan support. This was voted on by Republicans and Democrats alike. And it just like, it was like no big deal at the time that it was created. I'm just wondering, is the government starting to drop the breadcrumbs? They are getting ready to tell us what is going on. They're getting us ready because they know that the aliens are here. They're creating the Space Force, and they're just preparing the public for this eventual news that they're going to have to level with us. Do you think that is a possibility?
Yeah, I mean, it could be a possibility. You make a very valid point about that, Mike. And you don't want to create panic, so maybe it does make sense to create breadcrumbs and slowly get us to the story. You know what I mean? Slowly help us understand what's going out there. So yeah, again, you make a valid point, but at the end of the day, I don't know. Even President Obama said, he asked when he became president if there's aliens, if we're studying aliens. Did you hear about this or no?
Well, I heard recently, just a very recent interview, like within the past week or so. They asked him about this. He says, "Oh yeah, there's UFOs." And I think he just said it like nonchalantly, like It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. There's UFOs.
Exactly, because that's my case. UFO, you can't identify what it is. So no shit. Of course, there's things I see every day which I can't identify what it is.
I am just. You seem to be in the majority, Sid. People just don't seem to think this is that big a deal. I am just like, ever since I heard this, I've just been one of the only things I've been able to think about. Like this could change our lives. I mean, this could change history. I just find it fascinating.
Well, it's like COVID. At first, no one believed it. I mean, people believed it, but first, not many people. And then it started becoming more of a reality. And then people start getting affected, so it becomes even more of a reality. And then it becomes real, and it becomes real to everyone else. So maybe 2022. Are we 2022? What are we? 2021.
2021.
Maybe this is the year of the UFOs.
It's insane. Sid, I was wondering if we could call an audible, if you'd be all right with it. How would you feel about moving into our main topic?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right. Why don't you introduce that for us?
So this is a topic. This is something that you and I are both love. I guess you could consider it a hobby, but it's a common ground. We've had a lot of memories about this. We've done, we've done this together, but it's going to the movies, watching movies. It brings people together, even people that have a diverse background that may not relate. When it comes to certain movies, it really connects people, and everyone finds something within the movie that they can relate to. Some movies are good, some movies are bad, but it just, again, like, it's a way of people. It's weird because a lot of times in movies you go with friends, but you don't talk with each other. I mean, you sit there and you watch, but the thing is, everyone's invested. You and your friends are invested in the same thing for those 2 hours, which is rare. It's rare for people to sit down and be invested in paying attention to the same thing. But with this, you are. Then afterwards, you talk about it. You say what you love, what you hate, what you love to see, what you hate to see. And that's what we want to talk about. We want to just talk about movies in general, our experiences, movies we've seen, upcoming movies, the year of COVID, how it's affected movies. But that's the topic, Mike.
Yeah, movies are one of my favorite hobbies. I have a collection of hundreds of movies. I love going to the movie theaters. I think there's just something special about it. It's an experience that cannot be replicated at home, even though it's possible to build these days a really nice home theater. It just doesn't compare to that massive screen.
Nope.
The reclining seats, the gigantic speakers. It's just the pitch black darkness of a movie theater. It's a place you can go and just your attention is undivided for 2 hours, and that is just something that we don't do a lot these days. We always have our phone next to us or our tablet. We're always texting. We're always emailing. We're always on social media. We're always Googling things that we don't know. It's like, I was watching the WrestleMania Backlash on Sunday, and I realized like halfway through one of the matches, like I don't even know what's going on in this match because I've been on my phone the whole time. So that's one of the things I really like about going to the movie theaters. You turn your phone off, and you just focus on one thing for 2 hours, and then you talk about it with your friends. What did you think? It's just a really fun experience. I was trying to think of what the first movie I ever saw was, and I had a little bit of trouble. I'm not quite sure. Have you thought about that? Do you know what the first movie you ever saw was?
It was definitely a rated
In
R
theaters,
movie.
in theaters.
Yeah, it was definitely a rated R movie.
What?
Yeah, for sure.
The first movie you ever saw in theaters was rated R?
Most likely.
What?
Yep.
That's crazy.
It probably explains a lot about me. It probably explains why I curse a lot, who I am. Because my family growing up, they weren't born in America, so they're born in Iran, and it's not like Americans are not pussies, but like they don't shield their kids from anything. If they want to go watch a movie, they're gonna take their kids with them. It doesn't matter if it's R. It just they don't think about that. That's part of the culture I grew up in. It wasn't like, oh, this kid is gonna be too scared or whatever. It was just how they were raised. So I do remember one movie with I forget the names. He was in 30 Rock.
Alec Baldwin?
Yeah, it was Alec Baldwin, and I think his ex-wife was Kim Basinger.
I don't remember who his ex-wife is.
I think it's Kim, but it was definitely a rated R movie with him and his ex-wife or girlfriend. I'm sure I could look it up, but
were you like a 4 or 5 year old kid or something like that?
I don't know exactly how old, but it's not the first one I saw actually, but it's one I remember. Okay. I remember clearly seeing this movie. But what are you? I'm gonna look it up, try to find it out. But what about you, Mike?
So I think my parents have told me that the first movie they took me to see was Home Alone, which came out in 1989. So I would have been about 4 years old. I'm not sure if I remember seeing it at that time. But another movie that came out that year that I do remember seeing in theaters was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the live action one. So it was one of those two movies. And then in the early 90s, I remember seeing a lot of the Disney animated movies. Like I remember my grandparents took me and my siblings to see Beauty and the Beast, which I think came out in 1991. So I would have been like 6 years old. I vividly remember that, going to see that movie. Remember seeing Aladdin and Lion King, all those Disney movies, Pocahontas, Hercules. And then I remember getting to high school, and I went to Catholic grammar school, then I went to public high school, and didn't know too many people that well. But one of the things kids did was you used to go to the mall. That's something that people don't do as much these days. And malls very commonly had movie theaters. And we used to go to the mall, go to the movies. I remember seeing Meet the Parents freshman year of high school. Which I
saw it with my family. That was...
I saw it with friends in high school. That was a great comedy. I remember going to see one of the strange things I remember was like being a freshman in high school, and like early in that year, freshman year of high school, the Pokemon movie came out. And oh shit, we're running out of time. 10 minutes.
You didn't have to announce that in front of everyone that's watching.
Yeah. And I just remember being surprised that these kids wanted to see Pokemon the movie, because like, oh, we're in high school now. Like we're leaving that kind of shit behind. But now some people were still into Pokemon, so I remember seeing that.
And they still are today.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
But then I remember really the blockbuster movies, particularly the comic book movies, like those started to become events. and really going to see those on opening day, people lining up, people dressing up, like those were just, it was really fun going to see like Spider-Man, like the Sam Raimi
Yes.
Spider-Man. I vividly remember. Any movies that like really stand out like as a big deal for you, like going to see on like opening night or anything like that?
Sure. By the way, it was The Getaway. Came out in 1994 with Kim Basinger and Alec Baldwin.
Well, you
So
would have
that's
been,
not my.
you would
I
have
was
been like 10 years old. Okay.
That's not my first, but I remember vividly seeing that movie.
Oh, okay. All right.
And then it turns out she was also a Bond girl. Kim Basinger was in Never Say Never Again, which technically isn't
it's
a
not
real
a Bond movie.
movie.
It's a fake Bond movie.
But they consider her a Bond girl.
Mm-hmm.
But true story. But yes, the Spider-Man movies were definitely a big one.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing that with my friends. John was there, a couple other guys were there. We saw all three were midnight releases that we saw. And interesting enough, Mike, I've only seen those movies once.
Really?
Which is surprising. I saw it at midnight. I never saw it again. Honestly, I just wasn't a fan of those movies. I thought they were okay, but they just didn't warrant another viewing from me. And this is surprising, not surprising, but everyone knows I love movies. I don't generally rewatch movies, especially now. There's just so much content out there. There's TV shows, movies, podcasts, sporting events, video games. I don't really sit down and rewatch a movie. Like when I was younger, I used to. I used to watch the same movie several times. But now I just don't do it. I know some people do. It's just like, I just want to do something different. But of course, there's exceptions to that. Skyfall, any James Bond movies, I'll see those movies 10, 15, 20 times each. That doesn't matter. Layer Cake from Daniel Craig, I'll watch that movie any day of the week. But in general, I just don't. So yes, the big ones were Spider-Man and also Pirates of the Caribbean. I remember that being a big event. People dressed up as pirates. Unfortunately, the other ones were not as good as the first one. But I'll tell you, when those Blu-rays came out, I think those are one of the more exciting times because the video quality of those Blu-rays were top notch. Like I just couldn't wait to own those movies, like the Pirate of the Caribbean movies, especially the second and third one, because the first one had some darker moments, but the scenery of the second and third one had some brightness, and like I just couldn't wait to see it on a nice TV. So something that I fondly remember.
Yeah, Blu-ray is a great format. It's a format that holds up really well. Like I used to collect DVDs. DVDs at the time when DVD came out, it was amazing technology. But then when Blu-ray came out, it was clearly superior to Blu-ray. And I like donated almost all my DVDs. I don't really have any DVDs anymore. But now that 4K UHD has replaced Blu-ray, some movies, like my absolute favorite movies, I'm upgrading. But most of the movies, like Blu-ray, is perfectly fine. I have no problem just popping in the Blu-ray. It still looks great.
A cool trick I did. A lot of times when you buy a Blu-ray, it comes with like a thing inside the Blu-ray where it's a digital code.
Yeah.
And you can actually convert it to 4K. Now, some of these codes expired, but I literally went through my Blu-ray set and I was able to transfer a bunch of movies and get the 4K version on like Apple TV, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Usually, like I've tried it before. Usually you can get those codes to work even after the expiration date. So it's worth just giving it a try if you have one of those. And it says it's expired, just try it out. It might work. And
try it out and select the Apple option because Apple has that free conversion where literally you get a freaking 4K version of it.
Yeah, that I didn't know about that. That is a cool feature. We went to a lot of movies together in college and after college, actually. What are some of the ones that you remember fondly?
Matrix, I think it was the third
Matrix
one.
Reloaded. I think we saw the second and third one.
Yes, because they came out around the same time, right?
They came out like 6 months apart.
And it's funny because so this is our freshman year of college, and at Fairfield you couldn't have cars as a freshman,
right? But we knew someone who had a car.
Exactly. So this guy, Chris, haven't talked to him in a long time. Hope you're doing well. He was in the Air Force as part of our college, so he needed a car to go to the Air Force training.
Right.
So we befriended him, and we got him to take us to the movies, which
Mm-hmm.
was great. I think when we saw that Matrix movie, I forget it was the third or the second one. I don't know if you remember now. It was freaking hot. And the movie theater too, like the AC was not working. Like it was just a brutally hot day for some reason. And it kind of like hurt the experience, especially because the third one, again, a lot of times with trilogies, you expect a very satisfying conclusion. Because
Yeah.
you've been invested in it. And I've rewatched it recently on 4K, and my opinion now is much better than it was back then. Sometimes it takes some time to get away from the movie until we watch it. But when we first watched it, I just think we weren't as high on it. And I think the heat kind of contributed to that. The experience kind of made it, unfavorable. Do you remember that day?
I don't remember the heat. That's something I forgot about. But I do remember that we didn't. It's particularly the third one, Matrix Revolutions. We were disappointed in. I think a lot of people were disappointed in that movie.
Yeah.
But the first one, the original, is actually the first rated R movie I ever saw. My parents were like super strict with me growing up. So I was in high school when that came out. I was like 14. Like that was the first time I saw a rated R movie.
Yeah, I saw the Matrix in my neighbor's house. That's the first time I got to experience Matrix. I didn't know what it was. I would see people have like these desktop backgrounds of the Matrix coming down.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell is this? And then eventually I saw my neighbor's house, who's also a good friend of mine. But that was my first experience of Matrix. And then because of you guys in college, I got even more pumped. And now they're making a fourth one. So hopefully it's good.
That's coming out this year, I think. It might have gotten delayed. It might have gotten delayed due to COVID.
Correct.
But
that's what I was gonna say.
It's coming out soon.
It was supposed to be this year, and who knows, because of COVID, everything's been freaking out of the loop. And I think it's part of this conversation, Mike. Like this, and we've talked about this before. Like COVID really took movies out of the equation, and we just haven't been there for a long time, and that whole experience has been gone. So I really wanted to ask you, Mike, are you ready to go back? When do you want to go back? Are you gonna go when this? Like, do you have a plan? Is there a specific movie you're waiting for your return to the movies, or are you just waiting to see what movie piques your interest? Like, have you thought about this?
I have thought about this, and I'm going to tell you my answer after we start part 2 of this recording.
Yes, commercial break.
Welcome back. We had to take a short break. This is a first in the history of Hate to See It, where we get to report on something historic that happened in the middle of us recording the show. This is all possible because we had John on tonight as a special guest, because when you add a third person to a Zoom meeting, they limit you to 40-minute sessions. If we were just recording longer than 40 minutes, I never would have known this happened. Would not have been able to tell you all about this historic event. While we were recording, I got a notification that our friend Steve texted me. This is the Steve who was on the WrestleMania episode with us. And I didn't see what he texted me, but I was like, oh, Steve texted me. I wonder what he's texting about. Steve, like myself, is a big fan of the New York Yankees. And Corey Kluber, a pitcher on the Yankees, just pitched a no-hitter. The first Yankee to throw a no-hitter since David Cohn threw a perfect game in 1999. So it's been 22 years. Congratulations to Corey Kluber. I just watched it. I was able to watch it on my iPad. It was pretty cool. So, yeah, that's awesome that happened in the middle of this show, and we're able to report on it.
Congrats. I used to have you in fantasy when you just broke out. I picked you up on the waivers when no one knew who you were. So a lot of this tonight you owe to me. But, this is great, Mike. It's great that the Yankee fans have something to root for because they're not a good team anymore. So at least you guys got...
We'll see about that, Sid. We'll see in October if that's true or not.
We'll see, but at least you guys got to root for something today. I'm really happy. But let's get back into it, Mike. I asked you a question. What's your return to the movies? What have you planned? Have you thought about it?
So, yeah, I've definitely thought about it. I'm like, as I've mentioned on this show before, I'm fully vaccinated.
You're waxed.
The next time there's a movie that I want to see, I'll go see it. Like I have no fear about returning to the movie theater. I'm actually looking forward to returning to the movie theaters because I love going to the movies. I love getting a popcorn, a big Coke Zero, and just reclining my seat and just getting immersed in that big screen experience. So I can't wait to go back. The movie that I had eyed that I will probably be my return is Black Widow, the Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, which I think is coming out in July now. Is that right?
Yeah, July 9th.
Yeah, so that'll probably be my first one.
But that's like 2 months away.
It is 2 months away. So is there anything before then that's like must see?
Yes.
Fast 9, right? Fast 9.
Yeah, Fast 9, June 25th.
Okay, so that might be it then.
That could be it. But also, I'm going to say one that you may not see. Well, you might see this actually. A Quiet Place 2. May 28th.
Well, I might see that. I haven't seen the first one, so I do want to see it. So yeah, it's an option. It's a possibility.
The reason, so this is my rationale. I'm trying to think because I've been back to the movies, But I saw I can't think of the damn name, the Christopher Nolan movie, Tenet.
Yeah.
And we talked about this before. Like I saw that during COVID, but I haven't been back since. And truthfully, if the movie theaters were open during COVID, I would have gone. I had no issues with it. I would have worn a mask, which I did during Tenet. But anyway, I haven't gone since Tenet. I was like, what should I see? We have Book of Saw that's coming out, or maybe came out last weekend. I was like, do I want to go back for that? Didn't get good reviews. Chris Rock is in it. It's another Saw movie, Mike, which you're not a big fan of.
No,
but,
I think they're called torture porn. A lot of people call them torture porn.
Yes.
Like the movies make me like physically ill. Like I think they're disgusting. I think you have to. I don't understand how people can watch those movies and get enjoyment out of them. Like they are just so graphically violent. You're watching. It's not like a slasher film where someone gets like knifed and then like they're bleeding all over the place. No, like this is a movie where you are watching someone get tortured to death. Like that's on screen for minutes at a time. You're watching someone in excruciating pain. You're watching the most graphic violence. You're watching people get dismembered. It's so disgusting. I don't think there's any artistic value to it. And I honestly think if you get enjoyment out of it, you probably have a mental illness. Like there's something wrong with you.
When we forced you to see I
couldn't watch it. I honestly
I had so much joy and pleasure seeing how much pain you were in and how much you disliked it. Like that made me pumped.
It is one of the most unpleasant experiences in my life in terms outside of getting like a medical procedure. Like that is the most that is the most unpleasant like non-medical procedure experience in my life.
You know what it is, Mike? And again, there's not that much artistic. I think it's about you go through so much not pain but torture in your head. It's a mental agony while you're watching it. And like you're just like it just fucks with you, right? So when you leave the theater, it's like a release. Like all these chemicals are working in your brain, and when you're done, like it's like an experience in a way. It's like wow, I just went through this horrifying experience, and everything is okay. But it's like kind of like skydiving, I would say, because you're scared shitless, but once you're done, like all the chemicals, all the whatever it's called, everything's been released. Like you kind of feel euphoric. So that's what I kind of equate this to. But I'm not going to see this movie. It got terrible reviews. They're going different direction. Chris Rock is in it. Some other good actors are in it.
It's a Saw movie?
Yeah, Saw movie.
I didn't know they were still making Saw movies.
Yeah, but it's like I don't know if it's a reboot, but yeah, but apparently it didn't do well. So I was like, that's out. Then you have Army of the Dead, a Zack Snyder movie with Batista. Now that's also coming out on Netflix, so I'll watch it on Netflix. I'm not gonna go in the theater and watch it, but I'm definitely interested. But Quiet Place 2, and the reason why I want to see this in theaters is because certain movies, like especially like horror movies, Mike, you have to be in there. Like you said, the lights are off, the sound, like all that stuff magnifies the experience. When you watch a horror movie at home, your lights are on, you feel safe. You feel like you're in your safe place. So it's not the same experience. So that's why I really want to see this. Apparently, the guy from The Office who wrote this movie, you know what I'm talking about, right?
John
He's the one
Krasinski.
yes,
Krasinski.
exactly. Apparently, people are really impressed. I mean, we didn't think there'd be a sequel, but there is a sequel, and people were like, "Wow, this guy knows how to write some horror shit."
I didn't realize he directed and wrote the first movie.
I'm pretty sure he did.
He did, yeah.
Yeah,
But this, like, I didn't see the first one, and it's described as a horror movie, but this is like, I mean, there's a horror is like a wide spectrum.
Correct.
This is more like a suspense thriller type movie, from my understanding. Is that true?
It's true, but definitely it does have horror elements.
Right.
But the way you describe it is good. But this will be the movie I go back and see, and it's like in a week or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So
I would consider seeing that, but I think maybe it'll be Fast 9, because like those kind of I love the Fast and Furious franchise. Those kind of like blockbuster experiences, like that's why I go to the movie theater. So that might be it for me.
And it makes sense because the Fast and Furious movies, the franchise, they do a really good job of just they really take your attention for 2 hours with all the crazy stunts, all the crazy action. You are so invested in that movie. So that's I think it's a perfect movie to get back into the movies with, because it's going to be 2 hours of a crazy fast ride.
Yeah, I was just reading today that it actually just came out today in South Korea and Hong Kong. So it's coming out in Asia before we get it, because those movies are really popular in Asia, and it is already doing gangbusters. It's going to make a ton of money internationally.
Because that's the biggest movie that's coming out after COVID, right? I mean, Quiet Place will do well. I really like that movie, but Fast 9 is going to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then, we got some good movies coming out the next several months that were supposed to come out a long time ago. You got Fast 9, like we said, Black Widow, Suicide Squad. You got the Shang-Chi movie with the 10 rings, whatever it's called.
Yep.
2 Marvel movies.
The Eternals is another Marvel movie. And Spider-Man is coming out as well. I think we're getting 4 Marvel movies this year. Or Spider-Man might have got pushed to next year. But
it's possible.
I think it could still be December of this year. I think we're
getting
getting 4 Marvel movies. That's kind of crazy.
That is crazy. And then, of course, No Time to Die, October 8th.
Yeah.
Finally.
It's going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to it. It's just like it's something I've really missed.
And I've said this before. I don't need to go with a friend to the movie theaters. It's
no,
an
me
activity
either. Like,
I could do by myself.
It's something I got comfortable doing a long time ago, and I'm glad I did, because some people feel awkward doing things by themselves. And there's certain things like I can understand can be awkward to do by yourself, like going out and like having a meal like by yourself can be a little.
I love that.
I don't have a problem with that either, but I understand why some people might have a problem with that. But yeah, like I like going to the movies by myself. I like going with friends or family, obviously too. It's just great. It's a fun time.
Yeah, it's just like I love, especially like on a weekday after work, just going to a movie by myself, just a little break from the week.
Yeah, I've got a movie theater right down the street from me that's walkable distance. It's like a 5-minute walk. It's an AMC theater. They do $5 Tuesdays. Back before the pandemic, I was doing that almost every Tuesday, going to see a $5 movie. I
was doing that as well. It's a great deal. Like when I moved to San Diego, I was pumped because there was an AMC theater right down the block. Like, this is awesome. I started going to a lot of movies, but COVID happened. But this is another question I have for you, Mike. And I think we've talked about this before. When movies get back and up and running, and it's consistent, there's no more fear of COVID, will you consider getting the AMC, I think, A-lister pass, where basically you can see several movies a week?
Yeah, I mean, I would consider it, and I had considered it before, but the $5 Tuesday deal is so good that it's like, I think I would probably just stick with that, like just, because movies come and go. Like sometimes they go, there'll be movies coming out every week that you want to see, and sometimes there'll be a months long stretch where there is nothing coming out. So I probably wouldn't do it. I would try it out, but I would probably not do it.
Actually, I want to try it out because it's like $20, And if you don't go on a Tuesday, got till not right now. If you don't go on a Tuesday, it's expensive. Movie prices, have gone up. So if you could see several movies during a week, I forget exactly how much it is.
But can you go opening night for like new releases?
Yes, apparently
Yeah.
with the A-list you can, which is great.
Okay.
You can buy your tickets ahead of time. If that's true, which I believe it is, I think it's a really good deal. $20.
You really only need to see like 2 movies a month for
Correct.
to get your money's worth.
Exactly.
Right. So
I mean, and if you're doing it during summer when there's a lot of good movies, it's a good deal. I mean, we pay like $10, $12 now, maybe $18 for like Netflix, right? Something like that. But obviously with Netflix, you have access to a lot more content. But I think our brains are conditioned that it's okay to pay $10 here for a subscription, $15 here for a subscription, whatever it is. So I wouldn't mind doing it. And I think it's something I want to explore in the near future.
I'll look into it as well. That might be cool. One of the things I was thinking, Sid, was one of the things I love about going to the movie theaters is the live audience reactions to movies. One of the best of all time that I can remember is Avengers Endgame, when Captain America picks up Mjolnir, Thor's hammer. Just the crowd went absolutely ballistic. And Marvel recently released a trailer hyping the upcoming movies and also doing like a recap of all the movies that have come out so far. And it was basically like a welcome back to the movies trailer. It's a really cool little trailer that they did. And they showed footage of crowd reactions to that scene. And just seeing like how crazy people went for that scene. It was like, oh yeah, that's why I love going to the movies. Do you have any moments like that, that stand out to you of seeing a live in a theater where the crowd just went crazy?
Sure. Like there's a specific town that had a certain type of audience growing up where they overreacted with horror movies. So John and I used to love going to that theater specifically for horror movies because some of the comments they would make, like it just so outlandish. They would get so pumped. Like when the good guys finally killed the bad guy, like the villain, whatever it is, the monster, they would stand up, they would be throwing popcorn, they were cheering, they're celebrating. It's like it's like watching your best friend get married and everyone's finally congratulating the couple. But like I don't want to say certain things that may not be PG, but that's what we did. We went to the specific theater for that reason. And then I saw, the Chinese theater in LA, one of the greatest theaters where they have a lot of the movie premieres. Like I saw the last 2 Avenger movies there. I've seen I've seen the old big releases, the Star Wars movies recently, and the crowd on opening day, like they go nuts for those movies. Like, those are hardcore fans. When you go to a Chinese theater, you're getting someone that appreciates, that has booked a ticket as soon as it went for pre-order. So it's just really cool to be there with people like yourself. They're so into it.
Another type of movie I like to really see in the theater with an audience is comedies. It's great laughing at a movie with a large group of people. Like you get like a gauge of like what people think are funny. And laughter is infectious. So the more people laugh, the louder the laughter, and the laughter just spreads. And another thing interesting about it is I have a little bit of an interesting sense of humor. Can be maybe a little bit on the darker side, maybe a little on the deadpan side. And sometimes I will find stuff funny that other people don't find funny. And I've had moments in movie theaters where like I'm literally the only one laughing and it's like a full theater. Like that could just be kind of funny. It's like, you guys didn't get the joke? Like this is hilarious. Like that kind of stuff is interesting as well. Like when just to see what people find funny.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Good perspective, Mike. I've definitely had those moments too, where it's like, is the audience really catching on what just happened?
Yeah.
And you can kind of see like where you're at and what you like, what your personality is compared to other people's personalities and like your intelligence level. Because some things, it just goes over people's heads.
Yep.
Have you seen foreign movies, like movies where they don't speak English in a theater?
In a theater, the only the first, like, one of the first foreign movies I remember seeing, which was just hugely popular, was Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. But I don't think I saw that in theaters. I'm trying to think if there's like a subtitled movie that I saw in theaters, and I can't remember it. One movie which I've mentioned to you that I just saw recently, it's on Hulu right now. It won Best Foreign Film, or they call it Best International Film now at the Oscars. Another Round with Mads Mikkelsen. It's kind of a comedy. It's also kind of like a darker comedy. So it like really is right up my alley in terms of sense of humor. And it's a Danish movie, and it's subtitled, and I really enjoyed it. It's on Hulu. I recommend everyone see it. Basically, it's these teachers at a school in Denmark. One of them introduces them to this theory that I don't know if he's like a psychologist, some kind of academic, has this theory that humans operate at their peak mentally, essentially, if they have a buzz, like if their BAC is at like 0.05. So they're not drunk, but they have a little bit of a buzz going. So they experiment with this, and they try it out. They're like at school, like teaching classes, and they have a buzz going, and then they escalate it. Like they get drunker and drunker and drunker, and the story takes some turns. Have you seen it? I know I recommended it.
Yeah, no, I started it on my new 65-inch LC TV, really good TV. But then I was like, you know what? I have to watch. It's my new TV. I got to watch something that I could say like, this is it. This is the TV. This is the movie I'm breaking my TV in with. And that movie is not in 4K, unfortunately.
Okay.
On Hulu. So I wanted to watch something that really stood out. And of course, I watched Skyfall, which is one of my favorite movies.
Do you have that in 4K, Skyfall?
Yes, I did.
How was that on the 65-inch?
Oh, it was phenomenal.
TV?
It was great. It was great. It was really, really great experience.
Yeah. Are you able in your apartment? Are you able to get the room like dark? Do you like to watch movies in the dark?
Yeah. My place gets dark.
Because that's really important. You have an OLED, right? OLED.
Yes.
Like, that's really important for OLEDs to get the full experience with the contrast that it provides, to have a dark room.
Oh yeah, no, I don't have much light in my apartment, but yeah, it definitely gets dark at night.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm looking to upgrade my TV. I've had the same TV for like over a decade now, which I like. I like my TV a lot, but it's time to get an OLED 4K TV, I think.
Oh, for sure. But what I was gonna say about foreign movies, I used to date a girl like several years ago in New York, but she was a big movie fanatic, and it was just we would just pick random days. It wasn't mainstream movies. Like she had some really good taste, and she'd take me like all around New York City, different theaters I've never even knew existed, to watch all kinds of foreign movies. We saw this really good Russian movie that I think was nominated. It's completely Russian, but it was cool to watch something that that you wouldn't normally watch, and it was a really good experience. And we snuck some we snuck a lot of alcohol into the theater.
That's always a good time too. And that's another thing that's been introduced into movie theaters. Some movie theaters, you don't even have to sneak in alcohol; they just serve it at a lot of these movie theaters.
They do,
which is nice.
I took my mom this Christmas to see the new Adam Sandler movie, which I really liked right before COVID. It was reclining theater where you can order food, you can order drinks, really high end theater.
Yeah.
And you gotta love those experiences.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's great. That just reminds me, you and I used to go into New York and see movies a lot.
Did,
and we would see they weren't like obscure movies, but we used to go to a lot of the movies that would come out like around award season. I remember when we saw like The Wrestler. I remember we saw like a bunch of David O. Russell movies. He's a director I really like The Fighter and American Hustle.
Yes.
And Silver Linings Playbook, I think he did. I think we saw all those together. So yeah, that was fun going to see those movies in New York City.
No, that was a definitely great experience. Like again, just going to different restaurants in the city, either before or after the movie, but like going through the subways and finding the theater, just nothing better,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not unfortunate, but even when I live in New York, like John and I, That was the thing. Go to dinner, go see a movie. And we're just so accustomed to doing that.
Yeah.
And now, John's not here, you're not here. That's we're getting a call from a San Diego number. But I miss having that. I miss having those friends I can go to theaters with. But again, as we mentioned, you don't need a friend. If someone tells you you're a loser or weird for going to a movie by yourself, that is not the case. Just go enjoy it. If you love a movie, go by yourself.
I have no problem going by myself. The only time I feel like slightly awkward is the last movie I saw before the pandemic. I remember this. It came out like a week before like everything shut down. Onward, the Pixar movie, and Pixar movies like appeal to all ages. Like the movie Soul was amazing. It just won the Oscar for Best Animated Picture. Apparently Disney was thrilled with the streaming numbers that it did. A lot of people watched that movie on Disney Plus. But so like I'll go see Pixar movies in the theaters, and a lot of times you get like it's like families and like kids, and it just feels a little awkward like sitting in a row and there's like just like a family like with their kids, and like I'm just like some 36-year-old man like by myself. I'm just like wondering, what do these people think? Like do they think I'm some kind of like pervert or something? But no, I'm just there to enjoy the Pixar movie.
Good. Nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Well, no, you finish your thought.
I was gonna also say when I was an advisor, I've had a lot of different meetings in New York City, going visiting clients. Sometimes you had a break, like there was a couple like 2-hour window, and there was nothing better than just pulling up an app, finding out movies they were showing, finding out which theater it was, catching the subway, going seeing that movie in a suit, mind you, and then leaving, going to an appointment, seeing the client. Sometimes I'd watch like 2 or 3 movies that day. Like I had 4 meetings, like from like 8 a.m. in the morning till 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. at night. So I had spaced out the day by seeing like different movies. Like that was such a fun experience too.
Now that reminds me, Sid, did you ever do the double dip where you buy a ticket for one movie, you watch the movie, then you slip into another theater and watch another movie, 2 for the price of 1?
I'm sure I've done that when I was younger, but I really haven't done that. Not that I'm worried of being caught. It's just something that I just have not done. I know our friend Greg used to do that all the time. Apparently.
I used to do it actually too. Mainly back, I think when I was in law school. If it was just like a random Saturday, I had nothing going on. Like I would just kill a whole day. Like there was this one movie theater that I really liked. It was like a big megaplex. It had like at least 12 screens. And there was like, it might have had like 20 screens. It was like half the screens were on one side of this long hallway, half the screens were on the other. And then there was like a bathroom in the middle. And it was like really easy. Like I especially you would go in the afternoon. You wouldn't go on opening night or anything. You wouldn't even go at night when like there were going to be sellouts. You'd go in the afternoon, you'd watch your movie, then you'd go to the bathroom and take care of business. Then you walk out of the bathroom and then you just walk to the next movie as if and just like act totally normal. No one would say anything to you. I did it many times.
Wow.
And one time I even saw 3 movies in one day. Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. Do you remember the 3?
One of them was what was that? It was an Angelina Jolie movie with also I think James McAvoy was in it.
Wanted.
Wanted. That was definitely one of them. I want to say The Incredible Hulk was another one of them.
Okay.
And I don't remember the other one.
Nice.
Yeah. That was fun.
Cool.
One thing I wanted. Oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, one thing I definitely wanted to talk about before we wrapped up was after we graduated from college, there was a period of several years where we went to college in Connecticut, and some of our friends lived in Connecticut. You lived in New York. I lived in New Jersey. But we would still all get together in Connecticut a couple times a year and go to the movies. And it was just like something that we did.
Yes.
As a way to get together. And we kept that going for several years. One of the movies I remember us seeing was I Am Legend.
Yep. Another great Blu-ray.
Good movie.
The sound the sound of that movie. I remember I used to have like this really good speaker set, like 7 speakers, and like I Am Legend really took advantage of that.
You really need to upgrade your sound system, Sid. I know you're worried about it because of your cat, but you have that 65-inch, just amazing television. You need to match the audio experience with the visual experience. There's a solution out there. You just need to think about it. Maybe talk to some people who have cats. Like there's something you can do that works for you. Because I have a great sound system in my apartment. It just makes a huge difference. I think honestly, like having good quality audio at home is at least as important as having a good television, arguably more important.
No, I agree. When I had that 7.1 speakers, like literally 7 speakers, like you can hear when they throw a grenade, you can hear the grenade going over you.
Yeah, well, now they actually have the speakers that are above your head.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, it's gotten so good, the quality these days.
Gato, can we live with that? Will you not bite the cords? We'll see. I don't know. That's what I'm concerned.
Yeah,
but like you said, there's a solution out there. I just gotta spend some time.
I mean, maybe you have to run the wires through like those tubes, those plastic tubes, so like Gato can't get at them.
Yeah, but like you haven't been to my place. It's just I don't know. I'm sure there's a way.
And you could run a lot of this as much of the speaker wire through the walls. I mean, as possible. You want to run it through the walls. You want to run it under the floorboards. You want to do that anyway, so it looks clean.
Yeah.
All right. Got to do it, Sid.
I will. Well, you get a new TV. I'll get some speakers.
All right, let's both do it.
We're trying to make this a short episode, but obviously you and I could talk a lot about movies. We both love them. We're both excited to go back. Honestly, we could just keep going on and on. I think we should just end it. It's getting a little too long. It was a fun conversation with you. I can't wait to go back. Viewers, put a comment in our, on this video. Let us know what movie you're looking forward to.
Yeah, and let us know what are your memories from the movies growing up. Well, what's the first movie you remember seeing? What are some of your favorite experiences at the movie theaters? What are your favorite snacks at the movie theaters? Do you like the movies? Like some people don't like the movies, which always boggles my mind.
Yeah,
but those people are out there. So yeah, let us know in the comments.
One thing I'll just quickly end with, as everyone knows, my father passed many years ago, but I was glad that he was a big James Bond fan, and he's the one that introduced me to James Bond. So I was glad he got to see Casino Royale, the first movie with Daniel Craig.
Oh, nice.
I wish he got to see the other ones. I could tell he wasn't 100% sold on Daniel Craig, but I truly believe if he did see the other ones, he would have been a big fan. And
well, Skyfall, it was great. I'm hoping that No Time to Die is really good as well. I'm looking forward to that.
Same here, October. Can't wait.
Yep.
All right, Mike. Have a great rest of the week. I'm sure you and I will be chatting, texting. But viewers, thank you.
Back to Mass Effect. Take care.